Hi y'all, this is Larry at Deep South, Texas. It's February 24th and oh boy, it's an exciting time in the garden. We have our first tomato has flowered. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit later. But most of the tomatoes have buds on them, so it's looking encouraging. For the most part, they all look really healthy, and quite happy with that. We've planted peppers. I think you saw that last week, and this week we started planting our beans. So a lot going on. The garden is just looking lush and beautiful. This is the best time of year here at Deep South, Texas for the garden. The end of February and through March, everything grows very, very well and very fast. It hasn't turned too hot yet, so we don't have a lot of diseases and things going on. So it really looks good, and I love the garden at this time of year. Let's take a tour and see what we've got going. So here's what has me so excited this morning. We have our first flowers on our tomatoes. Many of the tomatoes have buds, but these are the first ones to bloom. Now this is a Cherokee purple tomato, and we've got two of those growing, and the second one also has a bloom, so pretty happy. And these tomatoes are looking very, very healthy. Nice thick stems, looking good. Lots of other tomatoes, lots of other varieties also growing. These tomatoes were started on January 1st, started the seeds, and then potted them up about 3 weeks later and planted them in the garden 3 weeks ago. Looking good. So that's one bed of tomatoes. We've got about 5 different beds of tomatoes. Here's another bed of tomatoes here. These two are Amish paste. These two are Roma. I forget what those are. Let's take a look at the label over there. Oh, these two are Brandywine. And then have a couple Trucker's Favorite here, and they're looking really healthy as well. I've probably planted these at some time in the past. I had a package of seeds, but I don't remember how they did. So far, they're looking good. And here are my beefsteak tomatoes. They're looking healthy. These tend to be prone to a little bit of disease for me, but I usually get a good harvest out of them before that happens. One of my other favorites are the Biltmores. These produce, very large, nice round tomatoes every year. They're determinate, but hope to have a nice harvest off of these this year as well. And we have Celebrity tomatoes here. They're doing well. In my last video a couple weeks ago, you saw me planting my peppers, and these are the Cayennes, and they also have flowers right now as well. And then in the next barrel over, I've got an Anaheim. Of course, my peppers are all in the barrels surrounded by onions. So we do double crop those quite a bit. And the Sugar Rush peaches are here. Looking nice. And here are my Carolina Reapers. I've got 7 of these planted, hoping to get enough to try to make some really hot sauce out of these. About 4 days ago, I planted my pink-eyed purple hull peas, and I'm starting to see them come up. This is where I had the broccoli planted before, so I took the broccoli out and put in this cattle panel trellis for those to grow up on. So I think that'll be plenty sturdy for them. And like I say, they're starting to come up. About 2 days later, I planted some Red Ripper cowpeas in this set of barrels, and they're not up yet, but hopefully they'll be up this week as well. These are the Red Rippers that I got from Deep South Homestead. So they grew real well in a bed. I didn't have them trellised at all, but they looked like they wanted to be trellised. So this year I've got them on a trellis. The onions are doing well. This is a mix of Grano 502, Texas Grano 502, which are yellow onions, and then we sort of moved them around and planted some red onions that we purchased at the big box store, some starts, and put them in here, and they've taken off as well now. So I'll be able to tell which ones are which, because one of them's yellow and one of them's red. Then I got this strange onion right here. I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like that. What about you? I think it's just a mutant of some kind. The leeks are looking good. And the elephant garlic growing in this barrel is also looking pretty good. I haven't seen anything of the ginger or turmeric yet, though. I've taken down last year's banana trees and letting some pups grow up for this year. We had one really beautiful bunch of bananas this year, and we ate a lot of bananas, and I dehydrated a bunch of bananas, so we'll have them around for a while. The second bed of carrots I planted this year are doing really well. Haven't started harvesting these yet, but I've started harvesting the carrots from the first bed we planted. Let's go take a look at those. This was the first bed of carrots that I planted. They germinated really well, but then something's been in here digging them up. I'm getting ready to take these all out now, because I want to use this bed. Let's pull one up here, one or two. So we've got some carrots. They're not all that big, but they'll be fine. We'll get these used up, and that one's got a little bit more size to it. Get these used up, and I'll get this bed ready for another crop. My potatoes are really slow in coming up this year, so I'm not sure what the issue is, whether they just don't get enough sun over here. It's been plenty warm, so I don't think that's it, but you know, I've got I have 3 beds of these. This is the best potato we have growing so far. It came up quite a while ago. And another small potato coming up here. But I don't know about the potatoes this year. The cabbages are also a little slow this year. Other than the 3 cabbages I planted over in the barrels with the broccoli, they were great. The rest of these are a little bit on the small side. We pulled several of them out of here, made some coleslaw with them. And I'm going to plant my sweet potatoes to grow slips in this bed. So in about a month we'll have slips and be ready to plant sweet potatoes. In this bed I planted speckled butter beans. So I got a handful of these from Deep South Homestead last fall, and I planted them and grew enough to plant a crop this year. So I planted them in the fall last year and they didn't seem like they did very well, and I think it was because it was too hot. So we're going to try them here in the spring, and I think they're going to do much better. I've had pretty poor luck with zucchini and summer squash for the last couple of years, so I wasn't going to plant any this year, but the family threw a fit. They wanted some planted, so we brought in a couple barrels and planted this. We'll see how it does this year. And here is a yellow bell pepper. I planted this the same day that I planted the tomatoes, and that was about a week before the rest of my peppers, and it's doing good. I see a flower bud there as well. And in the barrel next to that I planted my California Wonder peppers. These were kind of late going, and I have 1 barrel left in this part of the garden, and I'm going to put Marconi peppers in there because they're doing even less. They're coming along even slower this year. Here are my chickens over here running around in my wife's garden. They like it in the garden because it gets watered and it's a little bit cooler. Easier to dig. So I cut my moringa trees back in November or December, and they grow back again every year. You see a lot of new growth on this one. This one will be a very good producer of moringa leaves for me this year. And the moringa cuttings I started last year, they're all looking good, healthy, ready to be planted in the ground. So now that I have the tomatoes in, I'm fertilizing the garden. Going to try to do that every couple weeks. I just put fertilizer in this tank and fill it with water, and then when the sprinklers, or not the sprinklers anymore, when the drip irrigation system comes on, it pumps that out into the garden. And I put quick disconnects on this so I can move it around to various parts of the garden. I have 4 spots in this garden and 1 spot in the other garden to add the fertilizer. Seems to work pretty good. A little bit of a pain in the butt to move it around, but not too bad. So I hope you're as excited about your garden this year as I am about mine. I know I'm probably a little bit earlier than you, but this is what you have to look forward to in just a few short weeks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.